to Speak Life, your uplifting Christian podcast with hot topics and inspiring special guests. I'm your host, Shane Franks. Hey guys, welcome to Speak Life with Shane Franks. We've got Marilyn Nelson with us, a mother of my friend Camille Gent, and she is going to be discussing what God pulled her and Camille out of, the things that they were enduring, things that they had encountered. Had Camille Rose on here once before discussing her testimony of dealing with, receiving the vision of experiencing hell, and then she had mentioned that God had pulled her and her mother away from a family that involved witchcraft. So we have Marilyn here with us to discuss that, and I appreciate you being so transparent to discuss that. How are you?
I am doing well. Thank you for having me.
Good deal. Well, we've had a couple of hiccups along the way. I don't think the devil enjoys you coming out with this testimony. Is this your first time discussing this?
Yes, it is.
Okay. And I appreciate you being brave enough to do that. Has it been difficult in the past for you to, bring this conversation up? I mean, since you've not shared it, I imagine, you've been, kind of reluctant to.
I've shared it with a few of my friends that I feel safe around. A lot of people don't believe in witchcraft and I'm picky because it's pretty delicate. And I have a hard time, and I don't talk about my childhood.
I got you.
I don't have too many good things to say about it, so I just don't talk about it.
Well, you know what? Let's just cut straight into this, Marilyn, if you will. Take us at the beginning, and let's start discussing that, if you will.
Okay, my childhood?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. It's confusing because I've been writing more about different things, and basically my mom was a witch. She was in witchcraft, and I was partially raised. I don't remember a lot of stuff, and when I write down things, I have a kind of a block. I don't remember half of it. I'll tell a story and then I can't remember any more of it. But my mom was into witchcraft, and I remember living in this big house, and the house had lots and lots of people there. I don't even barely remember my mom being there, but I know she was part of it. But it was a lot of witchcraft things going on, a lot of seances, and a lot of abuse and different things. And I think maybe 5 or 6 years old. I can't remember my exact age. And that was probably the most traumatic part, is that house I lived in for quite a while.
So at what point did you realize that your family was not like other people, and that like maybe something occurred and you're like, okay, this isn't right?
That's a good question. I just accepted, because my mom was, married to a warlock, a guy that was into witchcraft. My dad was a bad alcoholic. I just felt like that was the way life was. I didn't feel like I was any different because I stayed away from people. I didn't have a whole lot of friends, and I just kind of basically tried to survive. And, that was my main goal in life. I didn't really think about being different than anybody.
And your mother was a high priestess, is that correct?
I guess that's a good term for her.
How would you describe it then?
Well, I guess that I just always hated her. I knew that there was a reason why, and I never really put a label on her.
But I believe that you had mentioned that was her position within the cult. Is that correct? Is that?
Yeah, I think so. She was, and she wasn't, when I lived in this house, she wasn't around a lot. And I don't know if she did a lot of things behind the scenes, or I never really thought of that. But I was with quite a few, and most of them, as far as I know, were men. And there was a couple women that I remember, but mainly, remember the men that was more abusive than the women.
And when you say that they were more abusive, do you mean like towards you or just in general?
Uh, Towards me and in general, but I feel like most of the abuse I recall was towards me.
Do you mind sharing a little bit about what that involved?
Well, let's see, a couple things that I remember. I'm terrified of snakes, terrified, and I get tired of people telling me that they're only garter snakes, but I don't remember what I did wrong, but I was put down in a basement and it was a dirt floor basement, and there were snakes crawling all over me, and uh, and I don't remember, that I remember that part, and then I don't remember leaving the basement or anything. That's an example of me not remembering, I just remember bits and pieces. And one other time I was in bed and I woke up and there were snakes crawling on me. And then there was a dog. I don't know where the dog came from, but I really have basically an abnormal idea of dogs because of what I went through. And Camille's pretty good about it. I think, sometimes she thinks I love my dogs more than her, and that I'm just very protective because this dog was very, he slept with me and loved me and all that. And I felt safe with this dog. And then I woke up one time and the dog's tail was in my bed and the dog was in the corner dead. And so I just, that was another part of an abuse, and I don't remember ever eating. I know that at one time I had to eat my own vomit and stuff, so I have a little bit of a wrong idea of food. I have a lot of hang-ups, but I deal with them the best I can.
So you had this dog that you felt was something that was in your life that you could love, that loved you back, that was that would protect you. And so you wake up and then they've dismembered this dog, and part of it's still in the bed with you, and the other part is over on the side of the corner, passed away.
Yeah.
Did you ever find out who done that? Was it your immediate family or?
No, no, well, I didn't even ask. I was just sad, and I knew at that time not to rock the boat because every time I tried to do something, I'd get abused or something. I never felt any love, or I don't remember ever eating other than I had to eat my own vomit at one time when I got sick, and stuff like that. But I never got any people caring for me, loving me like normal people do.
Yeah. Out of curiosity, do you know that if your mother and you said that she was married to a warlock, was this warlock your father or your stepfather?
He was my stepfather.
Okay.
And as far as I know, they were married. They were together and living together.
Okay. Was this the first part of the family that was involved in this, or did this go further back beyond them?
As far as I know, my mom was the first one. I know I wrote little bit about my grandmother, and my mom hated my grandmother terribly. And I don't think my grandmother was involved in it. I think my mom got involved in witchcraft on her own.
So how do you think that she got involved in it? Well, where did this begin?
That I don't know. I do know that you have to be careful because I'm very picky about my friends. If I don't feel comfortable with somebody, I'm done. And there's a lot of evil people in the world, and if you get too close to the wrong people, Satan's right there picking on you. And she probably left the door wide open. I don't know, but I've seen her. Well, I guess it's an abuse, is she had killed my sister in front of me when I was 3 and my sister's a year and a half old. She smothered her. That was probably one of my first memories of her and of my mom. And, you just leave the door open with Satan, they just take over. And that's what I really don't know how she got involved because I was so little too. And
was this a part of a ritualistic sacrifice, or was this just random?
I think it was more random. I was at my grandmother's house when this happened, and of course, the next day my mom wakes up and the baby's gone. She was a year and a half old, and she, made a big deal, a big scene about her losing her daughter and stuff. And I was too scared to say anything. And actually, a lot of that stuff I blocked out. I didn't remember a lot of stuff until I was an adult because I didn't want to deal with it.
Of course. Do you know, and of course you were young, do you have any reasoning of why she did this?
No, and I remember and there was another sister that also died, and she passed away before I was born, and her name was Elizabeth, and I I don't know, I feel like my mom had something to do with that too.
Mm,
She was involved in several deaths that I know of, probably more than I don't know.
yeah. So, out of curiosity, how close did she allow you to get to, the traditions and the rituals of what she was doing? Did you ever witness any of that, or did you just see the bad part of her that came home after doing this?
I witnessed probably more than what I realized. There was one thing. I was being sex abused in this big house, and there were several young kids there. They were teenagers, and I was still pretty young. And there was a guy that came in and stopped everybody. And then after that, I don't know if it's day or the same day or whatever. There was one of the boys got dismembered, and his body parts were laying in the living room, and I was just sitting there on the couch, and you know, and that was well, I was involved, but I never got. For some reason, I never felt like I needed to get involved in any of it. Somehow, I got protected from it. You know,
Wow.
um, but
So, oh, go
I
ahead.
just sat there and what I didn't. It didn't even affect me. I remember just sitting there on the couch, just looking at the boy, and his body parts were everywhere, and that's pretty scary when you don't feel anything.
So let me ask you this: was this done part of a ritual, or was it because that they captured him, what caught him doing what he did to you?
I would I always thought it was what he did to me, but if they're doing their satanic stuff, it's probably a ritual too. I don't know, and I don't even know where these boys came from. If I remember right, there's like three of them, and they were teenagers. And I don't know what happened to the other two.
Yeah, yeah, they probably skidded out of there pretty quickly, I
I
imagine.
would hope so.
Yeah. So, did your mother ever take you to any of these events of hers, or did she kind of keep you distant from these events and
I
these
never went.
ceremonies?
Yeah, I don't think I ever went to any events that I remember because,
Okay.
again, I have a lot of blank spots in my childhood and stuff.
How many men do you think that were involved in this coven? Because you mentioned a few men being involved.
I remember maybe three. There's maybe more because most of the time they wore white robes and their costumes or whatever that you call them, and they had things over their heads most of the time. So there could have been more, but I know that there was at least three.
Mm. And I know that we're kind of jumping all over the place here, but people that are deeply involved in this, they often do have abilities that even a lot of Christians don't like to think are possible. But did you ever witness your mother talking about anything like astral projection or anything like that? And that involves the human, well, the spirit leaving the human body behind and going out and about, usually 20 to 30 minutes at a time.
Not that I remember. I do know that she was involved in several deaths, like uh, well, there's one lady that she got really mad at, and all of a sudden, I mean, she was furious. And she, that lady, I was in the car at the time, but that lady died in a house fire. And my mom, and that was two other instances like that, that was similar to that. And, so she'd do whatever she do, witchcraft or whatever, and then these people would die. So I don't know if that's kind of what you're talking about. And God did protect me from a lot of that, which I'm glad because, I've seen enough. But
Of course. And I mean, let's take a break from what you witnessed and let's discuss for a moment how in the world you processed all of this. Because I mean, when you saw the boy that was completely dismembered, you said that you looked at it and just almost like it didn't affect you. It's probably because, I mean, you had already been through so much that you were on sensory overload here. How in the world did you process this? And I'm sorry, but how did you not go crazy? This would drive most people up the wall.
well, I think too that they had me on some kind of drugs or something at the time. I can't imagine people, anybody, even if you were crazy, you'd be crazier to see stuff like that. But I suffer from PTSD, and at first when this came out, I felt well, I had a really difficult time with PTSD. Now I just, I can, you're probably aware of PTSD. I go through one thing, the next thing I'm right back to my childhood and stuff. But I've learned to go through it, and I disassociate with a lot of it. I can't feel too much anymore. I hang on to God, and God's protected me, and I feel that my sisters protected me. Well, especially the one that I witnessed passing. But I, I just I don't know. And I think a lot of it was they had to put me on some kind of drugs of some sort. I don't know. And I've never witnessed being on anything, but I feel like that's what saved me somewhat.
And once again, I know we're jumping around a little bit, but like, how in the world did you get away from all of this?
Well, my mom and dad took off, and he wasn't. He was a bank robber too. So I mean, my whole life, it's just, it's.
And you're talking about your stepfather?
Yeah, yeah.
A warlock bank robber. Good Lord, this guy's a mixture of everything.
Well,
okay.
he was also a psychiatrist. So
Get out. What did you just say to me? The man's a bank robber, a warlock, and a psychiatrist. I do not want a psychiatrist like that. Holy, that is wild.
It sounds like a joke, but
yeah.
They met in a mental hospital in Portland. It was called Morningside Mental Hospital. And he was, and I know that he was into witchcraft, but I don't remember him doing much of that. We were too busy robbing banks and stuff, but that's how I kind of got out of that part. But then my mom she got out of moving out of that house. And I remember leaving that house, and it was in Portland. And all I remember is driving in the fog in a car. And I don't remember why we left or anything. So
after y'all piled up and left, did things get any better? Was your mother still involved in witchcraft, or did she exit out, or what?
No, she was into tarot cards, and then she was also working for the police for criminals and trying to find people that were yeah, that murders and different things, that the police wanted them to deal with, and that was in Portland. And she did a lot of tarot card reading, and I was involved in that a little bit, and then it just didn't.
Are you telling me that she was using the tarot cards to help them solve cases?
Yeah, a lot of it, yes.
So they relied on her a little bit as a medium to try to figure out crime scenes and stuff.
Yeah, and then she did a lot of talking to the dead, seances and that type of stuff, and so she never really got out of it.
And this was in what city?
Portland.
Portland. Okay.
And
okay.
She did some stuff in Roseburg. That's where Camille and I live. So
yeah. Well, let me ask you this. You are a child of God and saved now.
Mm-hmm.
That's on the other side of this spectrum. How did you get to where you are today? What did your exit plan look like? I mean, because you're looking at all of this, you've endured all of this craziness, stuff that most people will never experience in a lifetime. You experienced before age 12. What did that look like, getting away from all of this?
Well, I think I got away step by step because I made a lot of bad mistakes growing up because I had nobody to. My dad was also, my real dad was a bad alcoholic, and he was not a lot of help either. But I got pregnant at 16, and then I don't know, because I was in a lot of foster homes too, and some of them weren't too bad, but I was told that I would have to go back home and live with my mom at one point. So I purposely got pregnant with my son, and then we got married, and that wasn't the healthiest marriage at all. And then I've been married 4 times, and just I don't know, step by step, I finally, I think somebody had been praying for me or guardian angels or
Yeah.
something. I really don't know how I wound up, but I hang on to God.
I want to cover two things. One, first of all, and all of this chaos, did you ever see any angels?
Yes.
Okay, tell me about that.
Well, one of, and two times. One was, gosh, I was living in Portland at the time, and I woke up and it seemed like I seen a little girl, a little tiny girl, but she seemed like an angel and just kind of just standing there, just moving back and forth. And I don't know, I wasn't afraid or anything, so I felt comfort. And then even this morning, and I've probably seen other angels, but a lot of stuff I do block out. But
Yeah.
this morning I was in bed, and my husband was at work, and I felt like he was kissing me goodbye. And it was weird because it's like maybe he got in an accident or something, but I felt like that was an angel. He's a good Christian man, so it wasn't, but I do have a good marriage finally, but
Good.
it hasn't been easy for anybody because of my past, and
I'm
people
sure.
just got a lot of garbage and baggage. But
Yeah, I mean, because that had to distort the way you perceived relationships. And, you've gone through a lot of PTSD and stuff, I imagine. And it's, not everybody's completely understanding of that. And you don't know who you can trust.
Mhm. And it's not so much about trust, it's the acceptance. I don't want people to think I'm lying. Even my husband has a hard time because he grew up in a pretty conservative Christian home, and he knows I'm doing this, but I don't think it's computing too much because he doesn't understand it. But Camille, I mean, he wound up with Camille and me, so he's having
Yes.
quite the time. But
That's there
I
she
mean,
is. There she
he's
is.
not discouraging us or anything, but it's like, it's like,
Yeah. This next question requires a lot of transparency, and I'm asking this because there are people that deal with this, with the abuse and sexual abuse that you dealt with at a young child. Did that really bring across some problems in your marriage? When you started to, enter new relationships. I mean, because that's a part of marriage, and it had to bring, some sensitive moments.
yeah, the first 3 marriages, it was hard, difficult and stuff because it was abnormal. And
Yeah.
then with my husband now, we've worked it out. Things are a lot better, but it's because I've put most of that stuff in the past, and
Good.
I still have moments, and but I deal with them now. I don't run from them, and when you run from them and fight them, it's worse.
How did you come to God? I mean, you were not raised at all in a Christian family, but apparently God found you. How'd you get there?
That's a good question. When I was married to Camille's dad, we started going to church and stuff, and I think that was part of it. And then, well, Camille almost died when she was a baby, and I seen just her being prayed alive, and that kind of worked my way up. But I
Okay,
still
wait a
have.
minute. We're not going to skid over that. What do you mean prayed alive?
I don't. Did you tell him? when she was a baby. She had open heart surgery when she was a few weeks old,
Yeah.
and we were going to a church called Grace Brethren Church in Washington, and these people just surrounded us with lots of love. And one lady took us and spent her money on motels and different things. My ex-husband, me, and while she was in Portland having open heart surgery,
Yeah.
um, and people were praying for her, and that's where I figured prayer works, and it's and I think it was a lot of people just accept God overnight, but I think mine was just step by step,
Yeah.
and I just got my husband's one of them, well, a couple of them was beating on me. Camille's dad never abused me that
Yeah.
way, but
Good.
I got tired of being beat up and all that, and I
Shh.
decided I was done. But that's my way of life. That's what I knew.
Let's what you just said. Let's enter that inner psyche, if you will, because you grew up in abuse.
Mhm.
To a certain point, every man you married in some form seemed to be abusing you, whether it be emotional or physical, I suppose. Did you just feel like you were a magnet for abuse?
Yeah. Then I just got sick of it. I just felt like enough is enough. And what turned me around too is when my mom died.
Yeah.
And and I still feel like that's the best thing that happened to me is when she died. And
Yeah.
people think that's horrible, but that's how I feel.
Well, they
And
didn't walk your path, so they don't know.
yeah, yeah, and that's true. And I know for a fact she went to hell. And people say you don't know that. Well, I seen my mom's face, and it was a face of terror. And I'll never forget that. And I don't want to forget her look because I don't want to be there. And
Can you describe? Can you describe what that happening, that event?
her eyes were wide open, and her mouth was. I mean, it was like they were coming to get her, and her hands were all gnarled up, and it wasn't. And I've not everybody I've seen die gone to heaven, but her, I know she went to hell. It's just like they came and got her.
Did she say anything?
No, the last words to me was that she hated me. That was her last words to me. And she was in a foster home at that time. She was living with my ex-husband and me, and we finally moved her into another home because she was causing so much trouble. And she had got, well, there's a long story with all that, but when she was in the foster home, and I would go and see her so I wouldn't feel guilty when she died. And when her last word was that she hated me, and
Yeah.
I said, "Well, I'm here so I don't feel guilty when you die." And I just
Yeah.
walked out, and that was the last words that we said. And I got a call that she had died. I was getting ready for work, and when I went, for some reason, I went to see her, and I'm not sure why, but I looked at her face, and it was pure terror.
Mm.
And
And so she was just in the same position that she passed away in, and you said that her hands were withered up and everything else, and
yeah, and she was in bed, and her just her well, she was anorexic also. She maybe weighed 60 pounds when she died.
yeah.
She's basically starving herself, but she had her eyes just pure terror, not peace at
Were you
all, and her
were
mouth was wide open, and it was scary.
were you saved about at this point?
Not really.
Okay, okay.
Um,
So you had not come to God yet.
Well, I knew about God and stuff, but I hadn't, I mean, kind of messed around, a little bit, but I wasn't. Now it's for forever now.
Tell me how you got there, dear.
I think after I left my third husband on Valentine's Day, I broke up with him, and I just started getting close. Some of my friends were going to church and stuff, and I thought, I'm done. And then I met my current husband in church, and it just seemed like, watching him, and I got closer because of him. And then I wanted none of my kids at that time were saved. So I just felt like I didn't want them to go through what I went through. And because of that, my kids have been through a lot and not been raised like I would have liked. And
Yeah. Where do you see yourself right here in this moment, because the thing is most people, if they were in your situation, they just see themselves as damaged goods. They're like, okay, there's not much help for me. God can't use me. Here you are on this podcast sharing your testimony for the first time of what God's pulled you through. What does your Christian life look like right now, Marilyn?
Well, I feel like I'm a really strong Christian, and I want to keep growing.
And how long has it been, if you don't mind me asking? How long have you been saved?
Uh, probably 30 years.
Okay.
About the time I met my husband, and just I felt like I got to do something. I can't keep. Sometimes you do the same thing over and over and you expect different results. And that's basically where I was. So I decided I was done with men, and God didn't think that was going to happen. So anyway, he gave me Mike, and, so it's been about 30 years, but God's not done with me yet. And I do have stuff to offer, but I'm kind of picky about how to offer it, I guess.
Why is that?
Well, I don't like people saying that. Well, I've heard people say, well, that's not true. Well, one of them is somebody that's related to Camille, and he knows the situation, and he doesn't feel like, he feels like I'm just making it up.
You know what I think? I think that the most crucial, amazing, influential testimonies, the devil tries to suppress those the most, because he knows that when those testimonies get out, that they are detrimental to the kingdom of hell, his kingdom. And I believe that he uses people to try to make you feel foolish for sharing them. And I think that this is the very first step of you sharing that in a major way. And that I think that God's going to continue to use this testimony. Your job is not to convince. Your job is to tell. And I think that God's going to use your testimony. That's what I think. Because it's a powerful one. You've been through some crap. You've been through hell and back. You've endured, but you know what? We overcome the enemy by the blood of the Lamb, by the word of our testimony. And everything you went through wasn't just for you. It was to help you reach someone else. And I hate what you had to endure. I hate the pain that you had to deal with and the evil people you had to encounter along the way. But to the side of you is a woman that your life of everything you endured affected her and allowed her to also have a ministry to really sucker punch the kingdom of hell. But it's not just her, it's you as well. You are the matriarch of all of that. Do not ever sell yourself short. And God is not done with you, woman. You put on the armor of God. You stand up flat-footed, and everything that God allowed you to survive, you shout his name on the mountaintops, and you make sure that everything that you went through, that it has a reverse effect on the kingdom of hell. Because the devil, everything he tried to steal from you, he's got to repay sevenfold. And you know what? That's a lot of interest on him. We're going to bankrupt hell. Don't you think so?
Oh, yeah.
I think it's time to bankrupt hell.
So good. And like with Camille, we got unsaved loved ones in our family, and she's helping me bring them to Christ. And I'm not giving up, and I'm not giving any more time to the people that hurt me. And that's my motto, really. I've always felt that way. I'm not giving any more time, because you get abused and then you sit there and you wallow in it forever and ever. And I'm not doing that.
Did someone pray with you when you got saved, or did you just pray to God by yourself?
I just prayed to God by myself, and and I've been, a lot of people have been around me, and with, I have a lot of Christian friends. Most of them are, some aren't, and just recently, it's kind of, I don't know, it's not really part of the subject, but my husband, we got two puppies. How I love my puppies, and one of the puppies is named after my sister that I witnessed pass.
Yeah,
and she's quite the ticket. She's different, but it's it's nice to feel like she's part of me. It's not abnormal. I just felt like it, she got stolen away from me. And now
Yes.
she's part of me.
Absolutely. No, definitely. Because it's got to be in the back of your mind. What if she was alive today? What would that look like? What would that be like? But the cool thing is there's nothing that the enemy can steal away from us that God does not restore. And your sister is in heaven waiting on you.
Yeah, both of them are. So
Yes, both of them. Absolutely. Well, let me ask you this. If someone has heard your testimony and perhaps they're in witchcraft, God's dealing with them about getting out. First of all, what would you say to them?
Well, I have a friend that God keeps wanting me to be close to him. I keep trying to get away from him, but Camille knows them, and they're into witchcraft and stuff. And I've explained to them, and they just totally don't believe me, you know. And I told them I don't want them to go to hell. I'm worried about their salvation, and I don't know where they think they're going because I have asked them, and they just kind of him-haw around. And in the Bible, it says, I can't remember where it says that, but go to people and you preach and stuff. And if they don't accept you, you just move on. But God won't let me move on from these two, but I'm still, but I'm not going to give up on God,
Yeah, no, not at all. All right. Well, let's say that some of those people are watching this and they want to give their heart to God. Do you mind praying them through it?
I've never done that before.
You want to do it together?
It seems like that's what you want to do.
But why don't you do this? Why don't you pray the prayer that you pray to God, that you pray to Jesus that day, and they can repeat after you? Is that okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. All right. Dear Father God, I know that you're up there. I know that you love me, and just guide me to where I need to be closer to you and to love you. And I repent from all of my sins that I've done to prevent me from having a life with you. Just open doors for me and for other people. In Jesus' name, amen.
It's that easy.
No, I'm not good at that. But
What? Not good at that? You mean the fact that you didn't pull up a thesaurus and use all the fancy words? It don't need to be fancy words. It needs to be your heart. That's all that's important. And literally, people just need to realize it's that easy. Just giving God your yes. Just giving God your, and it's not just saying the words. It isn't that the words magically get us to heaven. It's believing.
Yeah.
And that was
hard,
And believing was hard on your part because you had all of your faith in people had been, you just had mistrust. And this was probably the first part in your life where you finally found somebody that you were willing to take a chance on and said, okay, God, I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
And I just want to add one last note, and that's that I would not be saved, Camille, of Camille Rose Ministries. I would not be saved. I would be dead and in hell right now if my mom did not pray for me for years, telling me that I needed the Lord. I would laugh at her when she would say she heard the Lord. I would laugh at her, tell her I don't want her God, and make fun of her. And then all these years, I get saved in 2003, 2013. I fall into these comas, have these strokes, die, and go to hell. And the Father rescued me to keep his word to me because I got saved before that. But that is because of you, Mom.
We do not ever need to take for granted our prayers for our children.
No, I'm not giving up. And now I got her to get the other people, the other kids.
Yes. You know what? God's going to bring them because just like the guard with Paul and Silas, they said, not only will you be saved, but also your household. That's a promise from God, and they're coming in Jesus' holy name.
Yep.
They're coming. Well, I thank both of you, beautiful, wonderful people, for being on Speak Life podcast today. We, man, you know what? This is an amazing testimony, and I look forward to the world hearing it.
Thank you so much, Shane.
Okay. Well, everyone who's listened, thank you so much for tuning in. Just remember that Speak Life Podcast, you can hear it on Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Apple Podcast. It's also on Roku and on Fire Stick. And jump on there and subscribe. And this has been Marilyn Nelson. And thank you so much once again for joining us. And y'all have a blessed day. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Shane.
Speak Life has been brought to you by Whitfield Murray Casa. Would you like to encourage a child in foster care? You can make a real difference in a child's life and help them thrive by becoming a CASA volunteer. Court-appointed special advocates are child-focused volunteers, especially trained to support and protect the best interests of kids in foster care. You can become part of the local team of good neighbors by joining the next volunteer training. Call Murray Whitfield Casa or visit Murray Whitfield Casa on Facebook. If you're looking for a unique, child-focused volunteer opportunity, this is it. And by Grant's Golf & More. For Dalton's best selection of golf supplies, come to Grant's Golf & More. All of your top brands for clubs and equipment from pre-owned to brand new, including strips on balls. You can be fitted on site using their state-of-the-art golf simulator. Grant's Golf & More is also your go-to for trusted club repair, conveniently located on Cleveland Highway in Dalton Village Shopping Center. And also by Honey Baked Ham, the perfect place for your holiday party trays, office parties, gift cards, family holiday dinners. Honey Baked Ham is a great place for a quick lunch. Also come in and grab Honey Baked Ham's Take and Bake sliders. Your family will be thankful you did. Honey Baked Ham can be located on West Walnut Avenue, Dalton, Georgia, and Brahmins Plaza, or call 706-277-4966 to place your order. And also by Peak Fitness, open since 2007 with a 23,000 square foot area, open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Check out their pro shop with clothing, protein bars, protein cookies, cooler drinks, and energy drinks. Also check out their smoothie shop with protein smoothies and fruit smoothies. They have a daycare, tanning beds, infrared sauna, hydro massage bed, group classes and bungee classes, and a huge variety of machines and a free weight area. Also, personal training is available. Located at 1021 River Birch Parkway, Dalton, Georgia, right off the bypass. Come sculpt the best version of you've ever seen.